And yeah, we could talk about that to jump it off, dude. LL Nation was good. You know, it's the Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics. That dude right there, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire, at Overtime Malik and Malik Zaire 8. I don't know why he has on that crass orange logo, Gator logo shirt today. Nevertheless, we're brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, make sure that you do drink responsibly. You know, Marcus Freeman doesn't have time for this BS, man. You know. And it's different when the fan base of another team gets upset by some of your comments.
It's different.
It's different. But then when the dudes you play with start whining and texting and calling, and instead of calling you direct, they texting and calling James Laurinaitis like, "What's up with your boy? Man, what's up with your boy? Why you keep talking?"
See, taking it so personal.
Get your goofy tail out.
Yeah, straight up.
Bobby Carpenter, like, get your goofy tail. You had to go to class, fam.
Yeah, straight up.
You weren't one of those dudes.
No.
You had to go to class.
You had to study. You had to study.
You had to study. Like, I'm so glad Cardell Jones came out and flat out said sarcastically, like, "Yeah, we all went to class." Like, man,
you know, he had to relive the tweet. He was honest back then.
Right. That's like, stop, man. And then
it's okay. It's okay. Look, we all know.
And then let me tell you something, man. Hey, Marcus, you ain't have to do that, man. But I understand. You got your degree from the university. So, you know, GP, you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
You did the right thing.
Man, them dudes, man.
Straight up.
That's the way I feel right now. I was ready to talk trash anyway, September 3rd. Now,
we was already ready to talk
now
trash.
It's on. It's on now. It's like, man, dude, one of the most arrogant fan bases ever. And this is my thing, bro. It'd be different. I went to the University of Illinois. University of Illinois degree is acclaimed. The alumni base on the Eastern Seaboard is amazing. The alumni base in the Midwest with that degree is amazing. The alumni base from San Fran all the way down to Mexico on the West Coast is amazing. Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, and I forget the other school. They're like the top 4 schools in the Big Ten. Ohio State isn't even top 5 academically in its own conference, fam.
It's not. You got Northwestern.
And Northwestern.
Purdue.
Stop.
Yeah.
Purdue was like top 10 in engineering, journalism. Look, man. Let's keep it a buck. It's a football factory.
That's it.
And that's cool. That's cool. Man, stand on it.
Yeah.
If I was a fan, I would stand on it.
Straight up.
If I was a Buckeye fan, I would stand on it. I wouldn't be trying to throw academics in the face of schools like Notre Dame, Northwest. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And this is my thing. Forget Dennis Dodd, whatever. He's an SEC dude. We already know what he's on. He's not even worth our time.
Not even.
The original quote, I was like, dude, let it lay.
Let it lay.
Just let it lay. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
He's not a football school.
Marcus Freeman went there. Let it lay where it lay. He just speaking on his experience. It ain't his fault. He ain't had to do nothing at the school.
Man, it's and it wasn't even all Ohio State fans. It was the players, fam. Like the fan base, you're going to react to anyone coming at your program because you're a fanatic. I get it. They're
That's
going
right.
to defend. These Ohio State players, man, stop. Stop.
Yeah, stop like you're
This
going to
dude named
Harvard.
2 players. He was like, we went to class. I know I went to class. I know J.K. Dobbins went to class. Man, oh, that's it. That's it.
About 100 on the team every year, dog. We look at the graduation average. That's what you look at. We ain't got to look
Oh
at individuals.
man.
And it's okay because that just means that they paying attention to whatever we doing.
And maybe Ryan Day is doing a better job. But Cardell was speaking about that Urban era, bro.
That's right.
He was talking about that Urban Meyer era.
And
Like,
we all know how Urban get down.
I didn't see Zeke say anything. None of the dudes in the NFL, none of them spoke up. None of them. Nah.
Can't find them.
They know. They know. So, look, one of the most amazing things about the entire situation is that once again, Marcus Freeman shows just how classy he is. And I'm glad that I'm not the SID or the person he goes to for advice on situations like this at Notre Dame. Because you know what I would have told him? Man, them dudes, man.
Straight up. Straight up.
Richard Young is on campus. Man, skip them dudes. Skip them. Let's snap. Just get Richard Young, and we don't have to say nothing else to Ohio State at all.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They in trouble.
That's it. Your boy Richard Young, he enjoyed himself, man.
He did. And, you know, I think it's that comfort when you seeing the young coaching staff fired up.
Absolutely.
Making headways. You're a young guy. You think this is the wave. This is where it's at.
And so we looked at his film the other day. In your opinion, would he talent-wise be one of the best running backs to ever come into the program?
I don't know. You know, I just think it's like it's an era thing. I think highlights and stuff were just different. You know what I mean? So I think he's a great, great, great prospect that we haven't seen at the position in a while from a hype standpoint. Like we really think he come in and play day one.
Yeah.
But I do think that he's really talented, man. And he's a big kid. And I think he knows. Well, I just gotta see him blocking, so everything makes sense. And I just gotta see him block because that matters a lot in college. Because you're not getting the ball every play like in high school, so it's just a little different.
Speaking of that, I've been watching a lot of film, bro, as we prepare to get to the month when camp starts. Day by day, we're going to start talking about the 22 starters each and every show. I watched the 2020 AFC 2020 ACC championship game. Do you realize Notre Dame dominated that game for the first quarter and a half?
Did it really?
Fam. Clemson didn't score their touchdown until like 9 minutes in the second quarter to take the lead.
Yeah, I remember.
Notre Dame should have had 17 points on the board before the touchdown.
Easily.
Right? We're in their territory. Avery Davis drops a fourth down.
He dropped the fourth down, and it was like it broke the momentum right there.
Right.
We couldn't find a play after that.
We get inside the 5-yard line and try to, instead of being creative, we try to run the ball down their throats with Kyron. Jonathan Moore misses a 20.
Remember that drop because it was such a like. If we got this, we're on their ass. We on them because like they just had a big play and we striking right back, and then he had that drop, and then they come back on offense and just one play touchdown our shit. And it was just like,
yeah. And see, that's the thing. we talk about this, and this is something that I can't wait to get into, bro. Because today's show is about how much does coaching really matter, right? And I want to remove, we understand that the best coaches are the best recruiters. We understand that, right? If you're going to be an elite coach in college, you have to be able to recruit at a high level. So let's remove that. All right, let's just start talking about preparation, game day, and adjustments. Something that is an unknown for Marcus Freeman and his staff going into September 3rd. We'll get to see early how they operate when everything goes live. And I'm watching, one of the games I watched also was the Wisconsin game from last year. And at the end of the game, Brian Kelly is getting ready to become the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame as he surpasses Newt Rockne. And they play a clip of him during the week. And they ask the question, what does it mean? And in retrospect, watching this answer pretty much let me know at that moment, that early in the season, that he knew his time was up. Because his response literally was, it doesn't really mean anything at Notre Dame because I don't have any national championships.
It was so dry of a response. Like,
Yeah, and it was like, you
he
know
could,
what?
he knew he couldn't celebrate this shit because he
Yeah,
knows.
yeah, yeah.
He's like, man,
It was nothing he could pull from it to elevate him in the eyes of people because he
no,
wanted to be the face of the program.
because he been
Well,
there too long.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so like now it's just like, of course, you've been there 10 years. Eventually, we done got so close and not got there
yeah.
that those games added up. So that's just like a compilation prize. Like how upsetting, because how are you the winningest coach with no championships? That's just like a big bowl of nothing.
Dad, Lucky
Like you
Lefty
got a
Pod.
big ass box of cereal with no prize inside. You done ate every 1,000 piece of cereal in the box.
That's the
Ate
worst.
all of it
That's
and
the
didn't get
worst.
no prize, man. That's
The fact that you just said that's the worst, fam. That right there would irritate me.
yeah. You done seen the commercial. It's the best cereal in the world. You eat this cereal. All the
Mhm.
other cereals gonna network with you for the rest of your life. You go in cereal history. You reach in that cereal box. You done ate every bowl you can eat. Same milk, no different bowl. Ate every scoop of cereal in the box, and then find out it's an empty box.
By the way,
You
it is
so
so
you so you so full off the cereal, and they ask you, "Did you enjoy it?" He can't even say it. He like, man, I ain't even get the prize. I'm just full off cereal, bro. He full off wins, man. See, I had to get on that diet. I got to switch cereals.
so Lucky Lefty podcast. Our guy, Coach Carl Reed, who's going to be joining us in the coming days, was on his show yesterday with Blake Brockmeyer, and they discussed Notre Dame and the Ohio State situation. And Coach Carl Reed, as always, laid it down and then putting something else on top of it. This is why we love Coach Carl Reed.
Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman had to hop on the morning juice with Brandon Beam and Bobby Carpenter to clear up his feelings on a potential misquote regarding Notre Dame's academics versus some of the other bigger schools in the world of college football. This has struck a larger discussion as to the value of academic pitches in the world of recruiting. Carl, how do you feel it factors into some of these recruitments?
Well, I think that Marcus Freeman said what he said. I don't see an issue with what he said. Notre Dame is tougher academically than a lot of the other powerhouse schools. If you've ever dealt with Notre Dame in recruiting, the guys that are getting recruited by Notre Dame, they have to live up to a higher academic standard They have to take some AP classes. It's a different setup entirely. And when coaches come in and recruit against Notre Dame, they talk about, do you want to live in the dorms with regular students? Do you want to have to eat in the cafeteria with regular students like they use at Notre Dame? The things that Marcus Freeman said yesterday, all the powerhouse coaches are using to recruit against them. I think that he was right in what he said. He obviously played at Ohio State, so some people up there took what he said personally, but I don't see an issue with what he said at all.
Yeah, Notre Dame is a unique school. I mean, they're a lot different than most of the schools. I visited there a couple of years ago, and academics is pretty much the number one priority there as far as the type of players that they can take. They can't take every single high school player in the country just because they're good football players. They have a strict standard there. Academics is obviously, a big deal. And they love living with the student population and living in a dorm with someone that's not a football player. And that's not for everybody. But for most of these top players in high school, they're out for two things. How much money can I get now at NIL? And can I get to the NFL and make it to the league?
And Blake, I think we got to be honest here, right? Marcus Freeman is going to be judged on, can he win a national championship for Notre Dame? These college coaches that come in, they're not making academics the priority when they're recruiting these kids.
Look, man, that was so much said there. I just want to start here. And this is why the coaches, former players, like, what your pitch is to guys you host when they come in. Like, dude, do you really want to do all that classwork you're going to have to do with Notre Dame? That's how people recruit against Notre Dame. So don't try to jump up when Marcus Freeman states the obvious and try to act like, but see, Marcus Freeman is smart. Marcus Freeman is taking the B Rabbit approach to recruiting. You remember 8 Mile? And B Rabbit's approach was, if I say it first about myself,
you ain't got nothing to say.
You ain't got nothing to say. See, Marcus Freeman puts it out there. He lets everybody know, this is Notre Dame. This is what we are. Yeah, you're right. And we're still great. And he diffuses the ability of other programs to come in and use that.
That's right.
In recruiting. And now they're mad about it. They're upset about it.
Like, I'm gonna tell you the toughest part about the recruitment visit to Notre Dame. I don't know if they still do this, but my experience for like last weekend, the big recruiting weekend, how it happened for me was the toughest part about it, or the most intimidating part, was you go to the academic office and you sit down in this nice office, and they go like, why do you want to come here? Like, do you think you can do these grades? And this is in front of the admission people, the academic people. That's the toughest part of the thing, because all right, football, all that, but yeah, they got to take you you go into this room, they sit you down, they be like, okay, why should you be here? And they don't do that on other visits.
No.
They like, why? Like, what about these grades? Like, why, why? And you got to sit there. I sat there with my mom, like, I want to be challenged and this, that, and the third. But that was the most intimidating part. But I knew after that was going to be the place I wanted to be at, because it was total perspective. It was like, we got it all here. You're not finna slack on any area. So I think that's just the best, the hardest part about the visit. There's ever a hard part, but I don't know if they still do that.
Well, not only that, the second thing they talked about was the fact that Notre Dame, in spite of that, has been able to be consistent. But more than that, Marcus Freeman will be judged by his ability to win a national championship. But that's not different from any other coach that comes to Notre Dame. Like, nothing has changed. The parameters for the head coach in Notre Dame didn't change once Marcus Freeman got the job.
Maybe a tighter leash.
That's about it. But everyone is expected to win a national championship.
Yeah.
The predecessor had plenty of opportunities. As I just pointed out, Everybody go watch the first quarter and a half of the ACC championship game, and you get irritated. You just get irritated because physically Notre Dame continue what they did to Clemson the first time they played.
We really just ran out of star power at the end.
Dude, just
Trevor Lawrence he was just like, I'm gonna just run over people, break tackles, and
your field goal kicker is missing 27-yard field goals. You know, they picked off Trevor Lawrence in the first quarter.
Yeah, we was rolling.
You know, and then they just get outflanked on a post route by Amari Rodgers.
Where nobody was around. I mean, good
Well,
grief.
you know, it was a switch situation, and Amari Rodgers was coming outside and just made a quick move on Shaun Crawford, and he was behind. He was behind from that point. There was really nothing he could do. So you get into situations like that, and like you said, once Clemson got a handle on the game, then they got mad aggressive because they knew Ian Book wasn't going to pull the trigger on a deep ball. So it was almost like a boa constrictor. You know,
once we got behind, it was over with.
Yeah. So, as I said before, the topic today is how much does coaching matter, right? When I talked to Coach O'Leary in March, and I said, Coach, these guys have been talking national championship. Multiple guys on this team. Like everything they've been through, the disappointing loss against Oklahoma State, they come out of that talking national championship. And I was like, yo, is that coming from you guys? Is that coming from the top? And he said, no, we're following their lead. You have to remember, and he had to remind me, you have to remember, that locker room has been to 2 college football playoffs. Yeah. There is no other place to go for them in their mind.
That's like the Warriors and the Celtics. The Warriors, those big three, at least have like 500 games of playoff experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's crazy.
What do you do with that?
Expectations are like, dude, we're not losing.
Yeah, like we know what this is. Y'all just got here, you know. So.
Yeah. So it's amazing in hearing that. And I remember thinking to myself, yo, you're right. Like they believe that they can win a national championship because they know they can get there. But they believe they can win a national championship. So when people start talking about Ohio State this, Ohio State that, I'm like, dude, look here. They believed under a coach that probably didn't even believe in them. And now they have a coach that does believe in them.
Or believe more.
This is why I laugh at everybody's like, man, they might go 8-4 this year. I'm like, not based upon the locker room? Nah.
Yeah, not based upon the locker room.
Nah.
Not how they saying. Not the way the locker room talking. They not thinking anything under 10. So
yeah.
But I think it all depends on this first game.
Yeah.
It's more than just a tone setter. It's really we put a lot of people on notice when we win that first game.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, and this is, Lee Marie, we thank you so much. You always tap in with us. The play caller and head coach didn't pull the trigger. Book did what his coach told him to do. And I think you have to see Book for who he was with handicap from his head coach. There's some truth in there. There's some truth in there. But Ian.
But Brandon had more talent. So, Book could only take you so far anyway. If they nurtured Brandon for a situation like Clemson, I think we would have bigger explosive play chances, which matters in those games.
Yeah.
Ian is a great guy to get you through the season, win you some stuff, consistent. But in those games like that, you just be like, I need a little more. I need like your special ability to come out
Yeah.
in those moments, and it just is serviceable. And which is why he's in the league. He's very serviceable, man. Like he might mess
Yeah.
around, get like 6-7 years out the league. You never know.
Yeah. Oh, that's the best job, backup
But,
quarterback.
I mean, yeah, he's
Oh man.
so his ability is really perfect for a professional setting, because you're not in threat of the guy. So it's like, you good.
Yeah, like I got Charlie White's last belt loop said Book played above his talent level.
Above his talent level is Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's
I
a
agree
player.
with that. I think Ian Book did what he did best.
He
which
was able to
make
live his
plays off schedule.
potential.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
quarterback, and not many quarterbacks get to live their potential. Like
Yeah.
you hit the max of your ability in college. Like
Yeah.
it's great to see.
Yeah. And when it comes down to it for you on game day, and this is the point I'm trying to get across. Because I'm a huge baseball fan. And shout out to Notre Dame as they get ready to take on Texas on Friday night. The first game in the College World Series. What do you think? What percentage or of impact did Brian Kelly have on you guys once you took the field? Like once you guys walked on the field, how much of an impact did he have on the game? Can you put a percentage on it?
I mean, he's definitely influential. It's just more about making it right, like turning chicken crap to chicken salad in those situations, because everything is pretty like routine. Like I think Coach Kelly has did a great job of putting a program in that functions pretty consistent. So the game plan goes pretty consistently. We're gonna script out the first couple plays. We're gonna get up, play good defense. If we get up by 10, we playing it safe, and we got the talent to spread the game out, the whole time. So I think during the years I was there and playing and stuff, we tried to expand that. And, Deshaun was in a situation where we could put up a lot of points in those couple of years. But Coach Kelly just is so impactful because it's just like the little things in the game, from a timeout situation or a third down call or a kick or go for it situation. Like those are the things that, matter, because 2 minute going in before half, he's making all the calls at that point. It's no longer like a collaborative thing. So that's the head coaches. Like I think Marcus Freeman should have did more of that in the Fiesta Bowl. Just been like forget it. We run a couple of this, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
Coach Kelly does a great job of knowing at what point in the game to insert himself. And sometimes it would go great, and sometimes we would have to make it go great.
Lucky Lefty podcast, we're talking about the importance of head coaching when it comes to college football. And this comes from the clip we just played with Coach Carl Reed talking about how Marcus Freeman and every other coach at Notre Dame is going to be judged, which is the ability to win national championships. And I just really wanted to know from your perspective, you talk about the nuances and, going up tempo, 2-minute drill. You talk about timeouts. This is now, look, explain this to me. How in the world did we call timeout and still have a problem with delay a game consistently under Brian Kelly?
Because he wouldn't be talking about nothing in the timeout, and then you realize we didn't have a play coming out. So they're scrambling to get a play as we're like going, like they would come over and be talking about like, oh, remember this, what'd you see, whatever. Fast forward, you're like, all right, the guy would be like, all right, we about to get back on. And we'll run out there and be like, what we got?
Wow.
And it would just be like, they would have like 2 or 3 different things going on. You know, they'd be talking about different, like more situational. All right, guys, we're looking to either take more time off the clock or we're trying to whatever. They explain the situation. In the headset, you got 3 or 4 guys. All right, I like this, I like this, I like this. By the time timeout over, it's like we got 3 or 4 options and no play.
No
So
clear
everybody's
cut
like,
play, yeah.
what we got? Oh, run this, run this. We get out there, we call in the last minute, and it's a check or something, and I'm looking over and they delay a game or something like but time moved faster when you on the field than like after you come out of commercial or something. So you're really thinking like, man, like a lot of stuff is happening, and that's just football, but that's in the game.
So the impact of a head coach on game day, you would put at about, in comparison to the players actually executing and making plays, about 30%, 70%.
And the impact in a big game, like a game where like Notre Dame, Georgia or something, it's like 50% because of the situational calls.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of it is just standard call and run. We've been muscle memory. We know this play is a play that's going to be positive. When it gets tough, it's like 3rd and 6 coming out of a timeout in the red zone.
Yeah.
You got some ideas, but they playing you a different way. And him being a offensive guy, he's like, he want his play to be called. So,
Yeah.
and that may be out of flow to what we're trying to set up or what's on the script or whatever, So interesting.
We'll be getting to some recruiting news shortly. We have some stuff about Charles Jagasaw, some stuff about Christian Gray, some stuff about Jeremiah Love, who will be in this weekend from the St. Louis area, and someone that flat out just canceled their trip to Notre Dame and announced that they'll be making a decision in the coming days on social media recently. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The reason I brought this up as a baseball fan, bro, 162 games, I've seen some of the worst managers win World Series, like just flat out boobs when it comes to managing a baseball game, right? And I just happen to be a fan of one of the biggest boobs in baseball right now, in Tony La Russa. So, and he's won championships, but he's not the same. Stuff. He's not the same manager that he used to be in his prime. He's just not. And it's impacting his team. His energy. Now, this is the most important thing that I want to bring up. It's not so much his knowledge of the game, but it's his lack of energy that's impacting this team, or his team, in my opinion, more than anything.
And that matters.
Remember, we talked to Brandon Wimbush, and he brought up that 2017 game against Miami. And he said, man, our mindset all week is, we're about to kick their A. That's what we're about to do. We're about to kick their A. Right? Because they had been pounding everybody else. Just pounding them. And they come out and they miss the early opportunity to get that touchdown. But he was just talking about how the team was so uptight because the head coach was uptight all week, even in pregame. And he's like, dude, we wanted to play loose, and we couldn't play loose because of him. So you talk about big games, that energy and the vibe you give to your team before they take the field. How important is that as well? Because especially for a quarterback, because Brandon was very upfront talking about how the energy was bad heading into that game.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing. If you don't feel like your coach going in there with the right attitude, you're going to be frustrated because he's not giving you the plays that you want, that you feel like the momentum is calling for because you're scared or you trying to play it safe or whatever. So, I think it definitely impacted. I think in the Texas game when it was me and Shaun splitting time, like he definitely set it up to where it was a difference in play calling, but then, you get the desired outcome and you want to rock with it, but then we get in a bad situation coming out and then you throw me in there, you know what I mean? And I think that coaching decision threw off the game because you threw it off, and it just made it hard to kind of get in sync when your head coach isn't in sync with everybody else. I give you a difference, like between then and 2015 when we played Texas at home. Everybody came out the locker room knowing we was whooping ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like Coach Kelly didn't even have to go out there because we could have called the game ourselves, because we believed that we was just the best team out there.
Yeah.
The next year it became like everybody's kind of gone. We need new leaders, so we need to rely on the coaching staff. And they're like, what do you mean, y'all the
They
guy?
used to
Y'all
everything
go
being
out
on
there and
cruise
do it.
control. Right.
Yeah, y'all supposed to go out there and do it, right? Like, Josh Adams and EQ and Torrey but we didn't have the same talent to do it ourselves like that, so we needed some coaching up. We needed some situational. We needed some good play calls for young guys to be comfortable in third down and in red zone and backed up. So they kind of cruise controlled on, in my opinion, the effort to highlight what we were good at. We just was like, all right, we're gonna run Josh 50 million times. We're gonna, run him to the ground when we got all this talent and play calling ability that we just wasn't using. So it ended up affecting just, I think, everybody, because people get frustrated. It's like now you got guys on the team that's like, I would have called this.
Right.
Man, he should have put me in. Man, he should have. Why they not? So that's just kind of what happens when you out of sync or when you get lazy because your team is so good. Like, look at Clemson. Clemson been Dabo Swinney been riding on. Dabo Swinney been riding on the talent of his quarterback so tough that, when he got a quarterback he really needed to assist, and they got in that big game, Clemson looked real regular.
Right.
You like, dang, y'all, why the play call is not working? Because they ain't got Travis Etienne, ACC all world running back. They don't got Trevor Lawrence that in a tight situation he could take off 68 yards versus Ohio State for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So your ass better call some nice plays. And that's what make play calling hard, because you can't hide behind it.
Yeah.
You can't give a non-talented, generational talented quarterback 3-play read progression against the number one defense in the country on national television, third down, because a lot of that is on the player.
Right. Facts.
You just hoping he go out there and do it for real.
Facts.
So if you don't give him a nice little RPO or something that he's basics or something that he's really good at, that you can be like, man, make this or break this, you're just gonna look like a fool.
You said something earlier that was very interesting when you were talking about, big games, and you were talking about the vibe going into big games, and how much of an impact it goes up even more in those big games. And we know Notre Dame over the last 10 years against top 10 teams, the record has been less than stellar, right? From a mindset, in your opinion, was there a battle between the mindset of the locker room and the mindset of the coaching staff going into games like that?
I think just after a while, it came down to like, we knew that we were good enough to get to the point where it was just going to be some crazy thing that takes place, whether we panic on a call or give up something ridiculous like Stanford, or get stretched out on a 2-point conversion versus Clemson when to win it. Like, in situations like that, everybody and their mama like, why are we running a stretch play with?
Was that strange to you on the sideline? Did you hear the call when it came in?
Yeah, I knew it was dumb, because I'm like, first of all, Shaun is big. He ain't no side-to-side guy. And you point conversion against a very aggressive defense. I'm not running side-to-side with Shaun. It just don't make no sense. Like, if anything, I'm running straight ahead. We running to the side, like, just so that's where and it's crazy because it's one play could make a whole team distrust each other, like Seattle Seahawks versus Patriots Super Bowl type stuff. So in that case, we should have threw it. I look at the Clemson game like Seattle. It looks at the Patriot game. They should have ran it. We should have threw it.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, what are we doing? So stuff like that can really break a team moving forward because now everybody feels like they had the right answer. So nobody want to think that buy into the full game plan the next week, you know. Right after that, we go into crazy ass North Carolina State or something like that, and
that was the game that almost got canceled because the storm was crazy.
And you're throwing it like the Fiesta Bowl 60 times a game. Like in theory, it makes sense because if you look in like on the field from the skybox, you're like, man, they got 20 guys in the box. Let's throw it. It's 1-on-1.
Right.
Yeah, but it's raining sideways. So like all the plays that we call for passes were great looks, but not when you're throwing a bowling ball.
Right, the ball is like 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah, guys are jumping in pools, getting tackled in pools on the field. Like kickoff was crazy because dude to get tackled and you will lose the dude in the water on the field. Lose him on the 20-yard line. It's like you were half drowning in tackles. So, I mean, we shouldn't have played, but North Carolina State, even that game, I was like, if anything, I should play this game because goddamn, like.
But dude, that was the best chance. That was the best chance North Carolina State had to win that game.
They had some players. They had Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
I mean, he was big in college. I don't know what he looked like now, but he was huge. But it didn't matter because it's like we were the best running team. So for us not to be the best running team, not running, we got Q Nelson. He out there pass blocking in the rain. That's crazy.
Right. Say that again. That sounds like an oxymoron. We got Q Nelson and we got him out here pass blocking in a storm.
In a storm. You can't say the rain. In a hurricane.
Like this game is made for Q Nelson. Made for him.
This is where you get all the legendary pictures from because his face all dirty and he just driving somebody in the ground, something crazy. And you got him backpedaling. That's crazy.
Dude. So we talked. This is the clip when Brandon Wimbush was talking about just the impact of the attitude coming from the coaching staff heading into that Miami game in 2017. We were talking about
because a lot of people say a big turn obviously was the Miami game, but for you, was there in your mind what was going through it before the game started and then just after?
He was about to run him up, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, but like everybody has a
different. Miami game day. Man, don't even bring that shit up.
But before you get to the game, Dex told us a story about when you guys actually arrived at the stadium on the bus.
Oh, with the bottles and joint.
Yeah, it was hype.
He was getting glass broke on the bus, and man, it was crazy. And it was like walking into a club. They'd be like, throwing beach balls around and bottles and screaming and horns. I mean, it's a club. And so you never have a bad thought about a game. Like you prepare so frequently and so much, and you feel like you never think you get beat 38-3, throw 2 intercept. Like that's never on your mind. And when people ask me, I'm like, what you think? Like I wanted to come in here and dominate. Was playing game day. And
I'm saying that I'm thinking that it wasn't you that was like the reason why. It was like
it was so tense.
Play the game, and then the people helping you with the game ain't helping you. So now you're looking around like you ain't giving me no options out here.
You're making me feel the same. You know what I mean? You're radiating this energy.
Right.
That's not what I need. I need to be free flow. You know how I am.
That's right.
Just what you were saying, bro.
Yeah, your quarterback can't be tight because you tight.
That says a lot. Especially when we talk about development of quarterbacks. Hey, man, energy, confidence, all of that is part of development. And when you as a staff can't do a good job of implementing confidence into a player, how do you think they're ever going to progress? And this is where people see what they call the constant regression at the position at Notre Dame. And it just goes to simply, man, there's nothing. I don't know if it's X's and O's or a system built around guys, but you have to find a way to give your quarterback confidence. Like this staff has to find a way to give Tyler Buckner confidence going into Ohio State.
And that starts by committing to him in the summer. I'll say first day of camp, you the starter. We're not even going to play with it. Right. Now let's focus on getting you actually ready.
And that's not even like publicly. Don't come out and publicly tell us, but that team needs to know.
Yeah, you need to identify who we looking towards, because in that game you need somebody to look towards, because you can't look to Marcus Freeman. He coaching you.
Yeah,
he's looking at you. So that's in my opinion. If they don't do that, it'll just be detrimental the longer you wait to do it. Don't pull up the game day talking about we about to do this new age 2 quarterback, do a drive type thing. We're going to lose by a lot of points. If we do that, I'm not betting on the game. I'm not betting on the game. Because this is not the game to be doing that. To get cute. That's getting cute to me.
Right.
Go in there, be intimidating. This is our leader. We ride or die. At least for this game, because we getting enough time to prepare.
Right.
To really get into it. If you got Tyler stressing like, damn, I better go 6 of 6 in this 7-on-7 drill on Tuesday during camp, because if I don't, then they gonna give it to Drew. He not thinking nothing about the Ohio State defense
at all.
He ain't thinking nothing about, man, I'm going to develop on working on my quick game footwork today in practice with the ones.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on my cadence with the ones today.
Right.
Or all this week. So because that's even tough. I'm in there competing with 2 other dudes, and we all got different cadences.
Right.
So we waste half of practice in team jumping off sides.
Right.
7 different voices down, say a hike 7 different ways. So it's like that is unnecessary stuff.
Yeah.
If you just like, Tyler, you got it, man. We just been to get some snap with your ones, feel chemistry with your ones.
Right.
All camp, not half a camp.
Right.
What is that going to do? So, and then Drew, I mean, it's just a decision they got to make. I think it's major college football where you shouldn't play with kids like that, only because it's like, do that at Tulane. You know what I mean? But because you don't see the teams that are winning doing that.
No.
They make a decision and rocking with it.
No.
And Ohio State had Joe Burrow, and he ain't even play for real. So that tells you Ohio State was decisive.
Right. You have to be decisive for that team, for the betterment of the team.
And they had Joe Burrow.
Right. Right.
The guy that actually started over him, he went to his Joe Burrow Super Bowl game.
Right.
So that's how it shakes out. But Ohio State was still successful at that time. That's what's crazy. They were still going to championships, winning stuff because they made a decision and grew their talent. JT was a 4-year starter with Joe Burrow on the roster the whole time. Think about that.
Then they brought in Justin Fields, and it was like,
and they still had him on the roster, and they still didn't play him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still, Ohio State made a decision. And look at that. It worked out for everybody. Joe Burrow was like, okay, y'all made a decision. Now I can make a decision.
Right.
I'm not stuck here being like, I think I can win it this year. I think I can win it this year. And then he probably would have never transferred.
Right.
And then my Bengals would have never beat Patrick, my homeboy.
Always have to come back to the Bengals. Always has to come back to Cincinnati / Davis. Lucky Lefty podcast. I'm your boy Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics. Malik Zaire, he's the other way. At overtime, Malik. We're just really talking about the impact that this coaching staff is going to have. Chancey Stuckey is going to be very important. Very, very important. I think we're going to see a difference in Braden Lindsey. I think Lorenzo Styles is going to continue to ascend. The guy you talked about more than anything taking a step is Jaden Thomas. And that's your guy. I would love to see that immediately. Tobias Merriweather, the incoming freshman, is an instant impact type of freshman. Under this coaching staff, I don't think we're going to have to wait until week 6 to see Tobias Merriweather on the field in some way, form, or fashion. I don't. You're muted, bro.
It'll be interesting to see what Marcus Freeman does with his guys now in school. Where's loyalty gonna be at? Ray Lindsey ain't his guy now. Now he gonna do him a solid. He gonna do him a solid and roll him out there. But Tobias Merriweather is a long-term investment. So
what, are you the long-term investment? How are you approaching that? Are you an aggressive investor? Or are you like
seeing how we've been aggressively recruiting? I don't know.
The kid has to play.
Marcus Freeman trying to put the best 11. He gonna put that first day in camp. I want the best 11. I'm a solid guy because I'm from Dayton, so I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna give you a chance, real stand-up guy. But he ain't the good Christian, Shaun. If that young calf coming up.
Come on, man.
Making him one-hand grab.
Good Christians give opportunities, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, good Christians sometimes can't tell a brother that, hey,
you ain't getting it done.
Hey, you ain't getting this one done.
Oh, man.
Marcus Freeman said he'd go to church Sunday, but not every day.
Oh, man.
Not every day.
Crazy. You are crazy. Lucky Lefty podcast. Indeed, the number one running back was on campus. And from the looks of it and his Instagram story, he had a pretty good time, man.
If he posting stuff,
he in the car with Free, bro. That's
that's Free's car, though.
Yeah.
That's Free's car. Ain't no rental.
Yeah. Ain't no rental.
Ain't no used. Hey, what they say, you got to order a Ferrari. You can't just pulling up on.
That's the first test. Free, you could tell it's his car because he knew how to put the window down.
Oh yeah,
he knew how to put the window down.
This ain't no regular though.
No.
Hey, you lucky he ain't committed in the parking lot because he might have drove it.
You know what I'm saying? They got him up on the board in the stadium, letting them know this is your terrain. You own this. He's like,
I ain't never got no walk in the stadium like that. And you know that little Ferrari coupe small, so they probably drove down the tunnel. They ain't gonna show you that.
Right.
They might have drove down the tunnel.
Drove down the tunnel to the field.
Drove down. They might have.
All right.
Hey, I wouldn't put it past Marcus Freeman. Now he bring his style.
So that right there, man, was when you get the number one running back on campus, and you make it all about him. That's the type of attention you get, right?
Yeah, we ain't doing that for no 3-star now. Look.
Yeah, and I'm sure he spent plenty of time with Dylan McCullough.
Yeah,
but that cat Marcus Freeman was like, "This is me. I got this. I got this.
We're gonna ride or die with this one.
Yeah, I got this. I got this.
If we don't get him, it's because of me,
right? Right. That's beautiful. Like, put it on me. Put it on me. If we don't get this dude, it's because I wasn't able to close.
And then we can all be like, all right, that's a head coach though. He gonna try. He gonna try. He the head coach. At least he can't yell at nobody and be like, why you ain't,
Yeah. That cat is definitely spinning it different, bro.
Dayton.
He's definitely spinning it different. That's that bunny rabbit, boy.
Man.
Lucky Lefty podcast. You know, bro, Charles Jagasaw comes in. He goes to Michigan first, but then he comes in to Notre Dame. I got a piece going up on Irish Breakdown. Probably tomorrow morning when it's published. And he's fresh off a trip to Missouri, Arkansas. Jeremiah Love, the big running back from St. Louis, comes in this weekend. Notre Dame is sitting in a position where they should be able to close the deal this weekend. Love his tape. Love his film. I love Richard Young's film, but Jeremiah Love is very much a home run hitter. Very much a home run hitter. Elite speed. Christian Gray continues the trend towards Notre Dame. He's headed out to USC and then to Ohio State. USC this weekend, then Ohio State. Let me clear some things up, man. And we talked about this last week. And we always view ourselves as assets to the program. Like, we're not just a podcast, we're assets to the program. Let me be clear.
Crucial assets.
I don't know the composition of anyone else's podcast. Right now, because of you guys, we're right at over 2,300 subscribers, and we appreciate it, and we're continuing to grow on a daily basis. And we thank you for that. But we view ourselves as an asset because we are very well aware that alumni players watch our podcast, current players watch our podcast, recruits watch our podcast. And because of that, we have to be very mindful of the things that we say on our podcast. So for those of you that heard things last week about a certain big time tackle that was on campus and another big time tackle coming in this weekend, and they already have 4 commits on the offensive line, and based upon the original plan, they only have 1 spot open. To the foolish that are out here that don't realize that they're an asset to Notre Dame and want to make crazy statements like Notre Dame is choosing one between the two, which is absolutely ridiculous. You don't say no to 5-star tackles. You don't. Notre Dame is going to take both guys. Notre Dame is going hard after both guys.
We have to. We have to.
I was shocked. Absolutely shocked that people would, how yourself as an asset if you're covering this program and you go out there and you make a statement like that. What are you doing? Other people might not want to speak on it. We spin it different. We want to speak on it.
That's right.
See, we don't have a problem talking about Dante Moore.
And I say the same thing.
When the situation with Dante Moore came up, I said, I don't know what's being reported, but I know one thing. All this backing away is a mistake.
Yeah.
Huge mistake. You don't do
we
that.
We recruited Dante so good, his backup committed to us a year early. So we're not letting up on Dante. We're just recruiting so well, other people just want to come too.
Yeah.
That just makes the pot thicker.
Yeah.
When you building that pot roast,
yeah,
you like some carrots, you throw the potatoes in there, but don't be like, oh, it's already good enough. I don't need no celery. No, throw the celery in there too. Cause why? All of it together, make it go crazy.
Facts. Give me 4 and 5. Those my seats. 4 and 5.
4 and 5. I need 2 of them. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I want the window, the row, and the middle.
It's
I know
ridiculous,
it's
man.
comfort. I know I'm in the comfort plus
It's
and
ridiculous.
in the 1C big,
Yeah.
but I like that on other two too. Maybe I want to lay out.
I'll never understand it, man. I
You
will
don't go to the
never
club.
understand it.
You don't go to the club and get all the bottle girls to come out to give you a little fifth of Patron. You want the fifth, the Henny, the 1942. You want
The Bel Air, everything.
that's what make the party go crazy.
Right.
You want to be cheap and just get a little pocket thing.
No.
Come on, man.
See, I'm not that dude. I'm not a drinker. But if I do go, I want to go sit in a private spot. And I know if I want that private spot, I got to buy some bottles.
Yeah.
I have to.
If you want to stand by the bar, you gonna get low quality service. It's gonna take a long time to get a drink, maybe.
But that bar is a nice place to catch some that might be prime, though. That was
They may pass by
back
you
in the
real
day.
fast.
Right.
On the way to the
Don't get me
visit,
wrong. Nothing is more prime than having that private area.
You know, Richard Young, he saw the private room, back room Notre Dame. He said, I'm
No
about to go
doubt.
there. Now he definitely stopped by a little FAU. They was, oh, hey, what's up? He might have said his thing, but he was going there. He was going to the back room.
Right.
Because that's where it's at.
He definitely got the VIP experience.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely got the VIP experience.
Bottle service.
For sure.
He done brought the confetti. He had the wings.
The sparklers on the bottles coming to the table.
Yeah, come on, man. Entertainment, whatever you needed. So.
Yeah. I wonder what restaurant they ate at, though. Ruth Chris, probably. That's been the go-to for the staff, Ruth Chris. You put me on that, though, the spot you put me on to.
Which one?
With the pineapple fried rice.
Oh, Wuchi's?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wuchi's was nice.
Wuchi's got something over there now.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
South Bend got some stuff if you over there, you know.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I saw the conversation about Dante Moore. Look, you can go watch the episode Moment of Truth that we did. Look. I won't say that the situation was mishandled by anybody. I think certain people that cover Notre Dame need to apologize to the staff because they put the staff in a very precarious position. And the staff, because of the work that they've laid, can probably still get Dante Moore. But it was made difficult by some irresponsible reporting. And there was absolutely no reason to even if Malik knew that, because I'll tell you how we talk about things. Malik will call, or I'll call Malik. We'll have an open discussion. This is what I'm hearing. Do you think we should talk about it? Should we say that? Do you think anyone would be upset if we said that? We go through this full discussion because we view ourselves as assets to the program on top of being a podcast. And there's no way, absolutely no way you could think about that situation and say to yourself, you know what? We're going to release this information. It just doesn't do you any good. It just doesn't. And the way it was handled, man, that lets me know that you don't view yourself as an asset to the program. You don't. You're covering the school, you're covering the program, but you don't view yourself as an asset. And in this day and age where the accessibility to content is at an all-time high for everyone involved in college football, from coaches, former players, current players, recruits, you have to do better than that. Like, we have to do better than that. Have to. Cafe Navarre. Okay, that's where they were. Cafe Navarre. I'm gonna have to check that out when I come back in town. I'll be back in town for some of those practices when they go to camp. I'll make sure I try out Cafe Navarre. That's my first time here. I don't think anyone has ever told me. Let's get to some of these super chats. I know we had a couple. There they go. Who that? Thank you for the super chat. Freeman's in his Ferrari 458 Spider driving Young to the stadium. That's Max flexing. That was a big time flex. I agree. Big time flex. We have one more super chat. Where is it at? I had it. I thought I had it. It was from Mark. Let me find it, Mark. You guys bear with me before we get out of here. But yeah, the Dante Moore situation is an unfortunate situation because it did not have to be that way. CJ Carr could have had his, Mark, there it is. Mark 1, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Malik, I was always thought you would be the starter when you got in. Then when you got in, then got hurt, my son. And I said, damn. I think we all collectively said the same thing when he got injured against Virginia. But Dante, it was just an unfortunate situation. It was mishandled, man. And like I said, the staff was put in a precarious position. And especially with the 7-on-7 tournament being that weekend, him hearing about it, he spoke to the media. This is why it's unfortunate. Dante Moore already knew CJ Carr was coming to Notre Dame. That with him loving Notre Dame, he already knew CJ Carr was coming to Notre Dame. And because of that, there's no reason to even talk about Dante Moore, man. Like, what are we talking about? Elite programs sign 5-star quarterbacks every year. Why? Who cares? There is no impact on Dante Moore. None. Okay, so what? A 2024 5-star committed to Notre Dame. Whoop-de-doo, that's going to happen. A 25 5-star is going to commit to Notre Dame. A 26 5-star is going to commit to Notre Dame. That's the plan. Like, I don't think Notre Dame is planning, we got CJ Carr, so we can go out here and get a high 3-star in 25 and then a high 4-star in 26. No. Every year you want one of the top quarterbacks in the nation to commit to your program. Period. That's why I was confused when we did that show, The Moment of Truth, because it's like, what are we talking about, man? What are we really talking about? And that's why I said, if the reports are true, which we've come to realize were not, if the reports were true, there's no way anybody from Notre Dame should tell that young man, we're backing off of you. What? That would be the worst recruiting look of all time. The worst. The worst. If you don't get them, you don't get them. Fine. But you don't tell a kid we're backing off of you, that you've been recruiting and reportedly are ahead of everybody else at the time. You are the current leader for the kid. You are the current leader for the kid, according to everyone at the time. I don't care what his pops are saying, what his inner circle is saying. You are the leader for this kid at the time. And because a 24 kid commits, you're going to tell this kid, we're good.
I think he just is not pressed as much as it was probably perceived before. It's just like professional sports and leverage. Yeah, we got this hot rookie coming in who's a lot cheaper. It just doesn't make sense to keep Jalen Smith on a $50 million contract, when we can draft a guy cheaper. Man. But at the end of the day, for us, we know that the value of having a 24 kid, because next year is going to come. The next year recruiting cycle is going to be here. the 24 class is going to be the most important, and CJ Carr is one of the most important 24 kids. That's something that we're not missing a boat on, Dante commit or not. So with it 23 being the one that's here right now, there's no way we're missing on the golden doubloon either when he's interested in us. It'd be different if he was just out there and we were trying to get his attention. We got his attention. We got him. We just want to have more because that's what it takes to build something where in college football today is no telling what you really got.
Man, look, that whole situation just irritated me to my soul, bro. Like, what are we talking about?
He the man.
Dude.
And Dante's not even that worried about it, sound like.
Dude, he said, I knew he was committing. I knew that. I knew that. So what?
Yeah.
And like we said, what are we really talking about if this dude is still like literally 4 days prior or a week prior to CJ Carr committing, Dante Moore was calling Notre Dame offensive commits, talking to them. What are we talking about? Yeah. Talks to Braylon James consistently. What are we talking about? Foolishness, man. Foolishness. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But hey, we spend it different. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petticoat Junction.
That's right. Petty Junction. Each and every day, pettiest story of the day. Somebody said something, somebody did something. You want to put them on a petty train? Let us know. So, look, we already talked about it, bro. Any and everything Ohio State goes on a petty train today. Fan base, reporters, Dennis Dodd, former players, whiners, the morning juice host, everybody. Man, get on the petty train. Like, let it go. Let it go. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, to be upset that you take pride in being a football factory and then get mad when somebody mentions that your academics aren't all that.
Yeah.
Especially when former players have said, yo, we come here to go to the NFL. We don't come here to go to school. Clean up your own house before you try to get at somebody else.
Exactly.
Hey, bro, did you see this story? I just thought this was super petty. Ben and Jerry's is planning on getting their cows to stop farting and burping, bro, to improve the quality of their ice cream. This is mad petty, bro. Did you see this?
How they gonna block it, though? That's crazy.
They would no longer feed them anything related to dairy.
That's probably a mini story that says about us for us all. Man.
They're going to feed them synthetic seeds, cleaner seeds, and more organic seeds that will prevent them from doing that, and which will stop the greenhouse gas emission effect. They're getting real deep with it and improve the quality of the ice cream. It's mad petty. Like, I don't do. When you eating ice cream, are you thinking about whether or not the cream or the milk that created the ice cream came from a farting cow?
That's the point. We're not, but they're telling us because they're really doing something else, man.
Dude,
You know
who
that's not
cares?
important. You know that's not important, but they made it important because they want to tell you something.
Right. Now I will say this, bro. One of my pet peeves are loud belchers. I can't stand people. Dude, that irritates my soul.
Yeah.
Like if you don't know how to do that mildly, it gets to me. It really does.
Yeah. And it's crazy because people manners is going down these days, you know, and coughing in your hand or coughing without covering your mouth is probably the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
And it's really not your hand. You're supposed to hit like your forearm, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Yeah, you're supposed to
Put
dab
it in
on
your
it.
hand is just
Right.
it's just so crazy to me.
Right. If you do it in your hand and you're not immediately going to wash your hands, it's like, what are we really doing?
What are we really doing?
Man, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Once again, hit the like button, share, let everybody know that the Lucky Lefty Podcast, we spin it different. As always, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts at A2S Network on Apple Podcasts, and make sure you become a subscriber on YouTube as well. We thank you for the super chats. We thank you for the support. And we'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Lucky Lefty Podcast. It's hot everywhere, so stay cool. And as always, man, spin it different. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Lucky Lefty.